Hey y'all, my name is Asia Corinne and I am here with my dad. I call him Dad, but you can call him
Michael's fine.
All right, right on. And we are here with the Hey Dad, You Busy podcast. We decided to start a podcast with each other just because we want to be able to talk and document some of our conversations. And I would like to use them in the future as little pick-me-ups because, Dad, you are the person that I call when I'm feeling really sad or I'm having a hard day, because I think that you and I have the most similar personalities out of everybody else.
That's true.
So I really wanted to be able to just be like, hey, Dad, you busy?
And that's what you say
Yeah.
every time. And I think that's considerate of you.
Yeah.
You always do it. Hey, Dad, are you busy?
Yeah.
And my response is what?
Never too busy for you, Angel Bear.
That's right.
So, yeah, I always call you, and I have a lot of emotions. I'm a very emotional person.
Because you're creative.
Is that why?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, the being creative has its ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those challenges is that we run the full gamut of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
The highs or lows are intensified because we are the creative ilk.
Yeah.
So it makes it challenging.
Yeah, it definitely is hard for me because I'm like, one of the things you always tell me is you have to stop weaving these stories in your head.
Yeah.
And because you're so creative, you come up with things that aren't even probably happening. And I realized that recently is that I'm a story weaver, big time story weaver. Mm-hmm. So if I think that something is wrong, or if somebody feels a type of way about me, or if somebody's upset, I start coming up with all these stories in my head for multiple reasons. One, so that I can prepare myself for any outcome. I think that's the main reason.
Yeah.
But also I just can't stop. It's an obsessive, maybe it's like an OCD thing.
It is.
Okay.
I'm a tad OCD.
Okay.
And because of cellular memory, I'm sure I pass a couple of those traits to you.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
The good with the bad, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I definitely want our podcast to be about is fatherhood, daughterhood, and what that journey has been like. And I don't want to say that I'm one of the few people, but I definitely feel blessed to have a dad. There's a lot of people, and I've been meeting more people recently that don't have fathers in their lives. You don't have a dad.
That's true.
And I recently just thought about, like, I don't have a grandpa on your side. And I've never put that together before.
Right. Well, I think that it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That not everyone has fathers. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a challenge for me. Not having a father sort of made me question my ability to be a good father.
Yeah.
I mean, you learn from your parents. You learn how to deal with life, how to interact with children from a mother and a father's perspective. And because I didn't have that other part of the equation, it made me question my ability to effectively father.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, made me kind of nervous about it, actually.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that you felt the most nervous about as it pertains to connecting with your children and having kids? For context, I have two brothers, but only one by my dad and my mom. And so it's just me and my younger brother. So what were some things that you felt nervous about pre-fatherhood?
Well, I think that I grew up in a very maternal environment. My grandmother and my mother, mostly my grandmother, sort of took the responsibility in raising me. So being in that environment around these strong women gave me the confidence to know how to navigate a daughter. And it sort of fed into my persona of protector, provider. And so I always knew that I'd be a good father to you, to a daughter. To a son, not so much, because I did not know how to be a good father. My father, unfortunately, wasn't very kind to me. And so that level of uncertainty, my biggest fear in having my son was, what if I treated him like I was treated? And how could I not follow that terrible example that my father exhibited to me? And because I happened to be more on the intense side, I wasn't sure if I'd actually be cruel. And from that perspective, I feared having a son. I feared it.
So when you say like cruel, would you use that word to describe your father?
Yep, absolutely. I think that's the perfect example. And it's funny because it would have been better. His level of cruelty, fortunately, I had my mother there to protect me. So there was never very much physical abuse, but the psychological abuse was pretty intense. And so it made me isolate. And I think that's one of the things in my personality. I sort of become isolated and dismissive. And the dismissiveness is a direct correlation to I got to protect myself. I have to shield myself from whatever extraneous influences that could damage me emotionally. So I think that was it, and the lack of paternal touch. Probably the most damaging thing, not being touched from a father.
Like no hugs and stuff?
No hugs.
Your dad never gave you a hug?
No. It was no. And that's okay. It's not okay, but you learn to survive it. So I think that's no. I don't think there was ever a moment since I can remember that he was ever affectionate to me. And it was always I look back on it now. It's sort of because I look at where I am now, and I figure that all things work in a way that brought me to where I am. And sometimes me and my mother would talk about it, and she would, or who he was, and I would tell her, "Mom, the best father I ever had was you." I'd tell her that. And had I persisted in that relationship, had I grown up in that relationship, had she not protected me by removing me from that situation, I'd have been different than who I am now. So yeah. And I think also that that's why I'm overly demonstrative to you and to, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like you mean in your displays of affection?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have always had the love of both of my parents. So I've never had to experience that lack of being wanted or being loved or being valued. So I've always attributed my parents as people who are responsible to love me and to show me kindness and to show me care. Did you have a concept of what your father is supposed to do? I guess what I'm trying to say is like, when you're not getting love from a parent, is it innate? Is it innate for you to expect that this person is supposed to love you?
Well, it's hard for me to make that assessment because I never had it.
Yeah.
So I never had anything to compare what it would be like to have a father in the environment. And so I think that the drive that my mother and grandmother gave me, which was never give up, no matter what it is, you keep moving forward, allowed me to, thrive. I wouldn't say thrive, but survive, not having a father. But it also, the other side of that is when I did have my son, I questioned everything. Am I doing the right thing? Am I being too hard on him? Subconsciously, am I being harder on him than you? And that was always, and having to process that all the time became sort of a subconscious chore. It wasn't natural. And because it was such in the forefront of my mind, it became a little arduous to always have to say, am I doing the right thing? Am I exhibiting on a subconscious level the same kind of cruelty of abandonment that I experienced? And sometimes it became tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think that your thing with my younger brother was, it was so difficult for you to figure out how to be a present father to a son that you became maybe a little bit more hands off in the beginning stages?
Well, I was afraid. I mean, I think that the one thing that I'm most concerned about this podcast, and I tell you all the time, which is, don't ask me anything unless you don't want to hear the truth. And so my biggest, I've always wanted a daughter. I mean, I spoke you into existence in a sense. I always wanted a daughter, and you came out pretty much exactly how I imagined you to be. But I never imagined having a son. It was never in my psyche. I never wanted a son. And because of the fear of not being able to be a great father to a son. So that frightened me. And things that I can't control, in that sense, I sort of avoid. And so, when, I was very afraid to have a son. And so the other thing about it is I do believe that so much energy, so much, what's the word? Emotions are transmitted through the sense of touch. And when he was born, I was reluctant to hold him. And it was because I was so afraid that the angst that I experienced growing up, or during those 6 or 7 years of when my father was actually in the house, I was moved. My mother moved us out of the house when I was like 5 or 6. She sent me to my grandmother first. And then we made a mass exodus subsequently that with all the kids. And I was so nervous that whatever anxiety, apprehension that I personally felt would be transmitted to him. And I did not want this child to feel the angst that I experienced. I mean, it's maybe weeks. I remember my mother coming up and said, "Please hold your son." And it sounds cruel. But it wasn't that I rejected him. It was more that I was afraid that he would sense my inadequacy. That's the word. And so, but when I finally held him, man, it melted me. It melted me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like during the years, or not even years, but do you feel like during the time of which you found out you were having a son and the time in between it took you from his birth to actually holding him, when you looked in the mirror, were you feeling like you were reflecting your father? Separately of,
yeah,
like
I did.
what you saw maybe when you're looking at the mirror thinking of me versus like, or did that give you like some sort of identity crisis?
It didn't give me an identity crisis. It made me nervous of the unknown. The possibility that I could become the monster that I grew up with. And because, knowing quite a bit about human nature and science and growing up and the college experience, and knowing that children are who they are on a genetic level, on a cellular level. I was aware of that. I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to mask the potential monster that I was programmed genetically, that I was genetically exposed to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. I think you've been a really great dad.
Well, I tell you, the struggle that I had was every time I looked in your face, I melted, man. I was the most vulnerable to you than anybody in my life. And the level of responsibility of bringing you into this world was what motivated me to do more than most people are capable of. And that level of vulnerability of not having to question or evaluate my level of love was just liberating. And it was different having my son. And the one thing I will say is that you made me a better father, but my son made me a better man. because his level of commitment to the relationship was far greater than what I deserved. His level of understanding, compassion, and I wasn't cruel. It was just that I wasn't the father I should have been. Mm-hmm. And you can make all kinds of excuses, and I'm not that type of guy, that this is why I grew up. I'm like this because, my father's like this. And there are no excuses. I could have been a better father. I just didn't know how. And yeah, but he's made me his level of dedication to this relationship taught me to be a better man.
I definitely remember when it was difficult for all of us. And let's be real, guys. There's favoritism, that people think that like the favorite person has it so easy. I think that when you are the favorite child, you also have incredible pressures on you that the other children don't. And
Really?
There's a responsibility on you that I think that others don't feel. Like I constantly feel responsible for my parents, or I feel a responsibility to everybody to perform in a way that makes them happy and that makes them comfortable, and that solidifies the relationship that they share with me. And I think that I've always felt the pressure of having to perform. And
in what capacity? I don't understand. What do you mean?
I think that you and mommy just always had a sadness about you that I could like see through.
Like what?
As a kid.
Sadness?
Like I knew that you guys weren't happy being married.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew when it was rough during you guys' marriage or during the divorce times. And I think that during those times, I felt like it was my job to pick up and be like, hey, mom, look at this. Or hey, dad, look at this. And just be a beacon of light and hope, because I've always taken that on. And it's not necessarily a negative thing. I would say that it has been on and off a certain amount of pressure, because I feel as though the happiness of the people I love the most is tied to whether or not I can help them maintain.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Happiness.
It should never have been your burden.
It is what it is. I think it's definitely made me into the type of person that I am, which is, I would say that I'm relatively empathetic, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it has been pressure, knowing, because even you said it in the podcast, is like, if I'm looking at Asia, I can do it. If I'm looking at my baby girl, I can figure it out. And
That's
so
true.
I think that when I was going through a lot of things, or when I was growing up and I was sad, I always felt the pressure to just like, okay, not right now. Or like, don't display this sadness because your dad needs to focus. Don't display this sadness because mommy had a bad day.
Interesting.
And so I started to frame how I express my emotions around where you guys were at emotionally.
Wow.
And I think that I carried a lot of that burden internally, and over time, I think I felt myself beginning to implode in a way, if that makes sense.
Well, I think that, first of all, that's unfortunate. I think that is the onus of the parent to make sure that children remain children. And if indeed you felt that sort of responsibility, that's a failure between me and your mom. Although I think that you were so intuitive.
Yeah.
As a child. I don't think, as I remember, that I don't think your mother and I argued much. Did we?
I mean,
In
when you
your
guys were
presence?
together,
Yeah.
no. But when
Yeah.
you guys were divorced, like all the time.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. That's different. But I'm saying, but while we're together, see, the point I'm trying to make is that your level of being intuitive, your intuitiveness.
Intuition.
Not intuition, being intuitive.
Okay.
Being able to see beyond something audible, to hear something beyond audible, to see something beyond visual. And I think that's what, because I know your mother and I never really argued in front of you guys. So whatever you picked up, whatever level of responsibility, whatever you perceived us to be in as it relates to us being unhappy as a couple, was something that's innate within you. And I remember this one thing: it's your mother and I and you went to Olive Garden and your little legs are just swinging and you're eating some kind of salad. And, we're at the table and with a mouthful of food, you said, Mommy, I'm sorry Daddy doesn't love you like he loves me.
Jeez.
And I looked at your mom. She looked at me like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And it was just shocking. Of course, shortly after that, you started choking.
Is that the same day?
That's the same day. Mommy, I'm sorry Daddy don't love you like he loves me. And Pam went and,
That's messed up. I didn't know it was the same day.
It was the same day.
I always imagined that story like in a different setting. I didn't think it was over dinner.
It was. Just swinging little legs.
Brutal.
Out of nowhere. Mommy, I'm sorry Daddy don't love you like he loves me. And it was true. So I think a lot of what you picked up as being intuitive was just your innate ability to see beyond the obvious, because I know we didn't do it. Now, once we were divorced, it was a whole different thing. Yeah.
I think that when you guys got divorced for sure, but I wouldn't say that when you guys were together, I felt that you were placing pressure on me for not you specifically, but you as in the two of you were placing the burden of happiness or your personal happiness on me specifically. I don't think I felt that. It was vibes. It was always vibes.
Yeah.
You guys never had a good vibe. And it's not something I remember specifically like, wow, I remember this one day where you guys had a bad vibe. I just think it was so pervasive and so obvious. And I don't know. And I honestly, if I had to think about maybe what my little baby brain was processing, was the love that I received from Mommy was immense. Yeah. The love I received from you was immense. And I did not see you guys sharing that love between each other.
Well, I think that people marry for different reasons. And, I think that I knew that Pam was going to be an amazing mother. And, the focus was always having this precious baby girl. And when you in a situation where the focus is not on the coupling, but the byproduct, then it's skewered from its inception. And so I think that's what happened.
But you were in love with Mommy at one point.
Yeah. Oh my God. Absolutely. She was magnificent.
You guys, my mom, beautiful, funny, charismatic, intelligent, creative.
Absolutely.
I can go on and on about the mother of mothers.
Yes, she is.
She's
creative,
such a good mom,
just
y'all.
always kept you guys positive, and she was, and it's funny, she used to corral you guys if I come from a long trip and stuff, and I was a little on the irritable side. She'd just corral you guys away. She was amazing. Yeah. She was amazing. Absolutely.
She's so great.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I'm definitely blessed to have the type of parents that I have. And, Mommy's not necessarily an entrepreneur, but she has an entrepreneurial spirit about her. And you 100% are an entrepreneur. And I think that growing up with parents who are creative and artsy has allowed me to be a more freeform person.
Yeah.
There's always the fear and the concern of money and whether or not that's going to manifest. But all in all, it's really nice to know that I have the type of parents where I'm allowed to make certain mistakes. I've definitely been scared throughout life to make mistakes, but in general, I have only been scared of the repercussions, not the loss of love.
Interesting.
So that's been nice. I think there are a lot of people whose parents don't allow them to make mistakes. And that's difficult for them to navigate because everything has to be what their parents expect.
See, I think that in retrospect, I think that's the one thing your mom and I got right. We never sat you down, oh, you're going to be a doctor, or you're going to be this, or you're going to be this. And, not one time.
Yeah.
And I think that because your mom and I were creative, we're able to allow you to be who you are and watch your evolution. Watch where your natural affinities are. And we cultivated that. And so, and I think we got that right.
Yeah.
No matter, and I think that your mother is very methodical, and I am too, but I'm more of a maverick. I just can't take risk. And so she was able to, once she found out what your natural affinities were creatively, she was able to gently nudge you in that direction. And whereas I'm the type, oh, just go for it, and I think that works sometimes. But the blend of having somebody methodical and somebody just, shooting for the stratosphere kind of makes for a good balance.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And it's funny. We'll get into you guys' divorce and what that was like for us growing up on another episode. But I think there's a lot of people who want their parents to get back together. Mm-hmm. And I remember growing up, he'd be like, you want me and your mom to get back together? I'd be like, please, no. Yeah. No, anything but that, And I really value being able to have cultivated the relationships individually that I've been able to do with you guys. Mm-hmm. And I think that hasn't been as easy for my younger brother. I think that he often felt like he had to choose a parent. And I was just like, no, I'm going to love you guys the way I love you guys. And it's going to be what it is. I never felt the pressure to have to choose sides. Like, is mom wrong? Is dad wrong? Is this person wrong? Or
that's tough.
Or volley at all in that way. And I think that my younger brother had a different trajectory because you guys' relationship is far different than our relationship is.
And because of my temperament and, the dismissive persona that I've developed from a child, he never knew when it was safe. And that's unfortunate. And I own that. Mm-hmm.
I think that's been part of you guys' relationship that's definitely been hard for him to navigate.
Yes.
And he uses me as a compass then, and sometimes even now, I'll be like, hey, dad is XYZ right now. Let's just pump the brakes. He's into the zone, And I think that because you and I are such similar personalities, I'm really able to read into where you're at and get a reading on what you need.
Right.
And same thing for mom. Like, I'm really good. I think it's about being intuitive. I'm really good at figuring out what it is that the people that I love around me need, and supplying them with that, because you guys' health is important to me. And I feel like it gives me strength to know that the people that I love are doing well or they're doing better. Regardless of whether or not I have.
Though. Yeah. So that's the line I keep trying to emphasize with you, is that there as a child, you got to remain a child. And when you take on the responsibility of those who brought you into the world, it compounds and creates a burden that you can't really navigate, and that you're not supposed to navigate. It's one thing to be concerned for a parent, but and sometimes your concern is just so intense that it doesn't allow you to deal with your personal things that are personal, your personal emotion, things that are personal to you, because you suppress those for what you perceive to be the greater good. The greater good, I need to save them.
That's true.
And that's not where it's supposed to. And I used to give you this analogy all the time. If you fall into the pool and you can't swim, well, I used to say it about me. If I fall into a pool and I can't swim, my survival instincts would create a mechanism that I'll somehow survive. I'm a survivor. Somehow I'll survive. But if you and my son and I fall into a river or pool and can't swim, I'm going to drown, because I'm going to try to save you guys. And in the process, we all perish. And so the same thing I tell you, that you can't be healthy dealing with your own emotions if you're trying to deal with everybody else's, particularly your parents, and that you got to focus on you first. And it sounds selfish, but the reality, same thing they tell you at the airport, at the airplane, put your life's jacket on first, and if you have a good child, then put it on at second. I used to always say, if you like your child, then put it on him. If you don't, but that's the whole thing. You got to save yourself in order to provide some kind of means to help someone else. But that shouldn't be your burden. Even now we talk about that. Whatever situation that I'm going through, your mom going through, or anybody that's close to you going through, you can't save them until you save yourself.
I definitely have a savior complex, and it's not a savior complex in the way of I want this person to know I saved them so that they can give me all the credit. It's like a real duty. It feels like an actual responsibility, and I feel so sometimes like involved or entrenched in the need to save the people closest to me that I feel like if anything happens to them, somehow it's my fault.
Wow, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And if I made you feel, I don't think I did. I don't think I've ever, not cognizantly. No, because that's no. If somehow you extrapolated that, then I apologize, but I never wanted you to be responsible.
No, I don't think it's like anything somebody put on me. I think that growing up, I felt like I really needed to be saved a lot.
That's interesting.
And because I know what it feels like to need to be saved.
But why would you feel the need to be saved? You're never abandoned. So I mean,
with Bev and stuff.
Okay,
like that kind of stuff, like being bullied and mistreated by family members or being ostracized by family members.
Got it.
And that level of like belittlement and always wanting somebody to stick up for me. And then no one ever did. So it just kind of became a thing where it's like, I'm never going to let nobody do me wrong again. And then by proxy, I want to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else. You know, like I feel like, okay, I have to jump in. I have to jump in because nobody else will, because I don't want to be a bystander. You know, I don't like the whole like bystander effect thing. So that's something else we'll get into.
Well, you're a take action person.
Yeah.
And you're proactive, so.
Also, yes. But, I guess I just feel protective. I just really feel protective over you guys.
But you got to find balance. You have to find balance or you're going to burn out sooner than later.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that you don't have the power to save. The best power that you have is to probably make things a little easier, but not the power to save. That power belongs to something much bigger than us. And that each person's life journey is basically their decision and their belief in the divine. And so you got to sort of get out of you're not a savior.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's a process.
That's for sure. I'm definitely working on it. I think that it's so interesting that you were able to be more emotional towards me, and you talk about how you had a lot of maternal love.
It's true.
Growing up. I want to get so deep into like Grammy and your mother, your grandma. But I guess that's something we can also do down the line. But I think I wanted to ask, what is one childhood memory that you remember of your father where you were like, where it was like a major takeaway?
Okay, so I don't know which side it is. I have a dimple. Which don't know.
Go like this.
This one, okay. So it looks natural, but it's not. And I remember this distinctly. So I was watching television or something, and he used to just like wait in the off camera somewhere I couldn't see him and jump out and yell and scare the hell out of me. And somehow I think I might have smart mouthed him out, something, I don't know. And I can't remember that, but I remember it was cold and it's in winter time. And he was after me. He was chasing me. So I ran out the house.
How old were you?
I must have been about 5, I think. I don't know. And the ice was slippery. And I slipped and I hit my jaw on the corner of a step. And it separated the muscle here. And once he saw I was hurt, the dude just turned around and went back inside. And I went back inside crying until my mom got home. Yeah, that was it. And I think shortly after that, as I recall, my mom sent me to my grandmother's.
Did you feel rejected in that moment, or was that just on par?
No, I don't feel rejected. I felt like I survived. It wasn't a matter of rejection. Rejection with him happened a lot earlier. I mean, you kids know. And so this was just I think I just, I survived that situation. So what about, I had gotten used to him not being a part of my life.
Mm.
So that wasn't it, so.
Mm-hmm. What did Grammy say when she got home?
I don't remember any of that now. I don't remember the interaction.
So I know that this is obviously our very first episode, so we're going to get into a lot of deeper things.
Of course.
Deeper in.
Okay.
But do you feel as though some of the things you went through growing up and with your dad prepared you to be a good father?
No. I think that that was all from the maternal side. 100%. Because he didn't treat my mom good.
I didn't know that. He was beating on Grammy?
Ass. No. Grammy, no. The Murrays don't take that.
Yeah.
No,
that's true. I can't see Grammy.
She'll cut somebody. Trust me. My grandmother, no, your grandmother don't take that. None of those Murrays do. They're pretty tough like that. And so that was never an issue. He was more afraid of her than she was of him, because he probably knew she'd kick his ass. So, yeah, Grammy's tough.
I know Grammy's tough.
Yeah, so, but no, I didn't learn anything. I don't think that I learned anything from him. I learned what not to do.
Yeah.
What to try to avoid. But I never. What could I possibly learn from him? Mm-hmm. Life of no. The short answer is no. There's nothing I learned from him.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, and then you would think that, because he apparently showed remorse, voiced remorse to my mom. And I was in college at the time, and he was in Dallas, Texas. We never left Dallas, Texas. And I was in Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama. And I don't know what prompted me. Maybe it's some kind of void that needed to be filled, or the excuses people come up with to deal with rejection. Maybe just have a bad day, and maybe he's just going through a bad time at that point. So I said, let me reach out to this dude.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the story.
I did not know you ever reached out to him.
I did. In college, I think it was my first year, freshman. And let me reach out to him. I call my mom, and my mom's always a peacemaker. Oh, that'll be a good thing to do. And he feels so much remorse. And I was one of those vacations, maybe Thanksgiving, one of those 5-day vacation stints. So I called him, and hey, I have this vacation. I'd love to come. Yeah, sure. Come. You can come stay. Mm. And so I don't know how I got the bus. My memory's kind of foggy as it relates to the sequence of how I got there. But I got there, and he was in an apartment, which kind of shocked me. But anyway, and so I get there, and just okay. The whole from the time he saw me, I really expected sort of the prodigal son analogy. I don't know if you know about that story. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you about it later. But I thought he'd be open arms, and first and second violins are playing, and the French horns coming in and swelling, something triumphant. And that's what in my mind, because you and I are storytellers, that's what I'm visualizing. The whole trip there must have taken the bus. Whole bus trip there, thinking, it's something, he's gonna come and embrace me, and he's gonna apologize, and I'm gonna be the bigger man, and I'm gonna abdicate or
absolve.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him absolution, and we're just gonna be one. It's gonna be a good father-son relationship. Shoot, I got that bastard. As soon as I saw him, it's just like, hey, how you doing? And pick me up from the bus station. We go to the house. Hey, you can sleep there. He wasn't an alcoholic. He never drank. And that I was supposed to stay there for 4 days. I stayed there for one night. Mm-hmm. And it was so oppressive. You can just tell he didn't want me to be there. And at that time, I said, I don't need this dude. What the hell? And then the very next day, you can sleep over there. And And I remember, I remember his smell at that time. It was masculine. And somehow during that first couple of minutes or couple of hours, whatever the time, I felt like a little boy. I felt like, like 6 or 7 years old, and how your father have a scent, masculinity, and, and it was during those hours that I actually felt like a little kid, that I forgot about all that other stuff that he did. And this is going to be okay. It's funny how kids want things to work out. And kids, I was in college, but in my mind, I was a child at the time.
Yeah.
And it was the next day. You could sleep there, just like. And I said the next morning, listen, I'm got to get back to college. And I'm thinking he's going to say, no, what, spend more time. That fool said, okay, I'll take you to the bus station. That was it. Took me to the bus station. No hugs, no anything. Okay, bye. That's kind of what it was. And it was at that point that I just said, screw it. Mm-hmm. And at that point, if anything were to happen to him now, I have no ill feelings. I don't have any resentment, but he's a stranger. And, so, yeah. So at that point, that's when I knew that this is who he is.
That's really sad. Did you cry, or?
I might have cried.
On the bus?
I might have, it's great to think melodramatically that I did. I was really sad, but the survivor instinct, no, I might have shed a tear before that. Screw this, kicked in, and I never looked back. So for that moment of disappointment, and I have issues with disappointment. I have huge issues disappointing some others, and I have a huge issue being disappointed.
Yeah, me too.
And at that point, I just said, screw it, and I never looked back.
Yeah.
Never looked back. So it wasn't like I boo-hooed. I was just so disappointed. But, my mindset is I don't have the time to be a victim. I don't have the time to sit there and wonder what could have been. It's what can I do now?
Yeah.
To make sure tomorrow's a better day. Yeah. So that was it.
I'm really sorry.
And that's the last time. No, nothing. Yeah. I think that, and maybe I probably need therapy for this, because I think I have a lot of deep stuff, that because of the urgency for survival, the importance to be able to provide, I just suppress a lot of stuff. I've always done that, suppress my pain. And I always thought that one day when I have everything where I want to be financially, and my kids have trust funds and all these other parameters that I placed on myself, once those objectives have been attained, well, I just spontaneously explode because of the pressure I've suppressed all these years.
Do you feel like you're still sewn together with pressure or by pressure?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember never having pressure. There's always a subliminal urgency to my life. I never had the luxury of punching a clock, knowing that, I got a pension fund down here and I get a gold watch after 25 years. So my life has always been on the grind.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's always like that.
Well, I'm excited to, talk about the grind in future episodes. And I definitely see that in you. And I wonder often, I really hope one day he's able to get rest. I hope he's able to get rest mentally, emotionally, and allow that pressure to just dissolve. But I also think maybe it's just inherent now. It's just like who you are. Do you think?
Well, I think that people deal with that kind of trauma differently. Some curl up into a corner and deal with it that way. And I know for a fact that my methodology as relates to that is to keep busy. Keep busy. Don't have the time to focus on it, because it could be paralyzing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so I don't know if and I always I always feared what would happen if I didn't have these self-motivating factors to keep me distracted
Yeah.
from what really ails me or what really bothers me. Yeah.
Well, I love you.
No, see, it's not about me not being loved.
I know.
It's, I'm loved by you. I'm loved by my son, by my family. I'm a lovable guy. It's just that, and that's why I said that my son made me a better man.
Yeah.
I was always destined to be a good father to a daughter, but it takes a real man to be able to say, I'm deficient in this. I'm flawed here. I'm really screwed up here, to be able to acknowledge those weaknesses or areas that are challenging, and to be able to face them, own them, and then do whatever it takes to rectify them. And a man would do that.
Yeah.
And my son forced me to be a man. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Yeah. I think that this was a really good first intro episode.
We got to do more of these?
Do you not want to?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, I'm just kidding. I think this was like a really great preliminary episode of Hey Dad, You Busy? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got, well, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not that, but dads tend to be busy in a way, in a dad way, where I feel like if I call mom, I just call her and I'm ready to jump right into the conversation. Right. But I think that most people, if they do have dads that are present, they always feel like, knock, knock. Yeah. Hey, Dad, it's me.
Right.
Need some guidance. So I really am excited for our podcasting journey and to talk more and to get deeper into some of the things that ail you, ail me, our triumphs, our traumas, and things that we've, overcome together, our relationship and what that means and how that's unfolded and how we've even gotten to a place to where we can communicate in this way,
It's been challenging.
Because I was a little bit, was I wild?
You were oddly rebellious.
Yeah.
And what I mean oddly rebellious, you weren't overtly.
Yeah.
You didn't just go and burn down houses and which made me more concerned. Because, if you're overtly demonstrative in your behavior, then you can see it and you can identify it. You can take corrective measures. It's the silent ones, the ones that really, you can just feel it bubbling, but you don't know what it is. You feel it festering, but you don't know where it's going to erupt.
Right.
And that's how you were. And that made me super nervous, but I will talk about that.
Yeah.
In the next episode, I suppose, or some subsequent episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely got to get into it. Yeah. But I'm realizing that we didn't introduce ourselves.
Yeah, we did.
Well, we said Asian Michael, but we didn't talk about who we are and what we do and like what our life is. Okay, well, I'll do it now at the end. My name is Asia Corinne. As I said, I have another podcast with my boyfriend called Hanging Out Forever. Shout out to Grant. And I am a film director, content creator, cute person. And I have a dad, and my dad's name is Michael. And should I talk about what you do, or do you want to talk about yourself?
No, this is...
Michael does everything. No. So he and I do archery together, which is cool. We're both like outdoorsy people. He's a scuba diver, world traveler, music maker, cool ass dad.
That is the truth. The coolest, not really.
Yeah, but probably one of the coolest dads. I can't wait to get into some of your stories, guys. Buckle up, okay? You have no idea. We're inviting you into our lives. So welcome to our home, his home really, because I live in LA. But yeah, welcome to the home. And we're super excited to continue with
This is fun.
Well, maybe we'll call it the busy journey. Is that stupid? Yes. Okay.
I think you can do better.
Yeah. Well, we'll just continue with our dad journey, and I'm excited to kind of track our lives and have something that we can look back on in X amount of years or whatever. Or if I choose to have children, something I can show them, obviously you'll get to give them firsthand accounts and you'll get to make up all the crazy stories that you made up for me.
I did.
But yeah, so we really hope y'all enjoyed this very first episode of Hey Dad, You Busy?
Never too busy for you, Angel Bear.
All right, y'all. We'll catch you on the next episode. We appreciate you. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to hit us with any stories about your parents, your dad. We do have a submission forum for Dad Advice, which is advice brought to you by a dad, my dad. He can also be your dad. I will lend him out to you for advice. So go ahead and hit that
I
submission
thought you were going
form.
to say for a fee.
No, I can't charge the people.
Okay.
This is free therapy for y'all. Come on, be real. And, I'm really excited for you guys to start hitting us with some submissions about some stories that you want to share about your life or experiences that you've had with your dad or your parents growing up or something you've learned in parenthood or anything like that. It's totally open forum. So that link is down here in our description on YouTube, and it's in all of our links, also in all of our bios. So we appreciate y'all for tapping in, and we're very excited to see you on the next one.